A warm welcome to everybody joining us this morning or today, whenever you're listening to it. Actually, you can listen at your own leisure. If you're watching, listening, this is episode 2 of the Project Cambridge podcast. And today we're going to be talking all about digital inclusion and how one company is not only tackling digital inclusion, but they're also reducing the negative impact waste surplus tech has on the environment. Now, as usual, before I introduce our guest today, I want to invite you to put any questions or comments that you've got in the comments boxes. And also, please be aware that, as you can see, if you're watching us, that we don't have the luxury of a studio. I'm doing this from home, and Sue and Denise are there in the office there. But as I'm at home, there's every chance that a cat or two is going to walk in front of the screen and make an appearance in their own special way. So basically what I'm trying to say is this is a raw and authentic podcast, and we're just going to roll with any mishaps and mistakes. So let's just do it. And just a reminder as well that what we want to achieve through these productions, we want to obviously bring you cool stuff that's happening in and around Cambridge. So bringing you some interesting people, some fascinating tech and science, talk to you about how the city's growing and really how you can get involved. So frankly, awesome conversations, and obviously all in a language that's going to be inclusive and accessible to everybody. So just before we start, and for anyone not familiar with the term digital inclusion, basically it means ensuring that everybody has the access, the skills, the support, and the confidence to participate in and benefit from our modern digital society. And that's regardless, that's really regardless of the circumstances or walks of life. And it's about bridging that digital divide and addressing issues like access to technology, digital literacy, and the ability to use online services effectively. And these two people joining me today, they know all about that. So I'm delighted to introduce you to Sue Gowling. Sue's on the right if you're watching, and Denise Coates on the left. And they're from Sustainable Tech for Good. They're doing some wonderful work around that.
Thank you. Good morning, Jen. Thank you for inviting us.
Good morning, Jen.
Yeah, thanks.
Great to You're very welcome. Lovely to have you both on the podcast. I think we first met. You reached out to me when I started Project Cambridge and wanted to have a chat. And then Sue, we've seen each other at the Lido a few times, having a swim. Yeah. But Sue, tell us, so you're the founder of ST4G, originally from Cumbria, from the beautiful Lake District, and now you moved down to Cambridge in the early 90s. Can you give us a bit of a background on ST4G, on the company, how it all started, really, Sue?
It basically started just prior to lockdown. So I've been one way or another. I've been involved in the reuse and refurbishment of tech since the early 90s, and I also have a company now called Veritas Digital Services, where we do data center decommissions, the repair, refurbishing of that equipment, the data arrays, the data backups. It's all about data. But when the chaps are on site, they pick up loose tech. So there might be laptops, tablets, mobile phones. We call it legacy in our business, for older tech that's no longer required because it's been let go because of upgrades. But when we were on site, we'd pick up that tech, repair, refurbish it, and sell it affordably in the early days, or actually donate it out to schools in the local area. We supported Netherhall School actually back in 2019. And we also have, I've got a couple of tech schools that we've built in Cambodia, and also a couple of schools in Nepal. They're the main schools that we've built. And we've got tech out. So the tech that we've picked up, repaired, refurbished, we get those out to those schools. So your question, Sustainable Tech for Good. So we sort of hit lockdown. We'd sort of got into helping the schools overseas, and then chatting to schools in Cambridgeshire, some in Hertfordshire, and looking at the fact that children did not have devices. We supported homework clubs. So we'd sort of got into that mindset anyway. hit lockdown, February 2019, sorry, beg your pardon, February 2020, and we're all told that we can't go to work. So essentially for us, Veritas Digital Services could no longer attend site and do the work that historically we'd been doing. So to keep ourselves busy, we carried on working actually throughout. We started repairing and refurbishing the devices that we'd collected. So were desktop PCs, laptops, mobiles, tablets. And in so doing, we refurbished them, we donated them to local schools and charities. And really it was at the start of that we started working together too, didn't we? And the stories that came back from the charities that we were supporting and the schools that we're supporting with the devices was just a real eye-opener. So I've been fortunate enough to live in Cambridge, a beautiful town, and all the beautiful things that we're surrounded by. And I've learned since that Cambridge is supposed to be, it is the most unequal city in Europe. Unequal. Now, when you start working on a project like this and you start speaking to the charities and the council, you speak about care leavers and the homeless, and you hear the stories that are coming back, you think, my goodness, I've been helping overseas. Great, I've done that. But actually what really needs to happen is what's going on my doorstep.
Yeah, so that's all next door. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a really powerful message and a lesson learned. And for me, I felt, I'd been in tech for a long time, since the early 90s. I've been successful with that and fortunate. And I thought, how many people in Cambridge, you've got great jobs, lawyers, you're in biotech, you're in pharmaceutical, you're part of the college. Do we really, really know what's going on? Do we really know? And actually, if people did, like me, now understand that, would they want to help more? And I think they would, and I decided that they would. So we started Sustainable Tech for Good. In the early days, some people will remember us as Laptops for Learning. So we'd sort of got laptops out to people. That was our lockdown name, Laptops for Learning. So we'd get laptops out to people and devices. And then as the time went by, sort of 18 months later, we're still working on this project. We've helped well over 1,200 people in the first year of lockdown, and it was increasing. And the charities and the councils and the schools, it became a thing. Having run businesses for years and developing them, I thought, this isn't a project. It's not a lockdown project. There's too much of a need. We need to address this and make a real thing of it. So Sustainable Tech for Good began, and we call it Sustainable Tech for Good because our solutions take all excess surplus tech, and in one way or other, through our solutions, it enables us to donate devices to those in need.
What a brilliant story. And lockdown was really, you've got kids having to learn from home, and so many families that just don't have the access to tech at home. Not everybody has a home PC or a laptop at home, and so it was so vital that you guys were able to provide that resource and give kids in particular that access to learning. That's an absolutely amazing story. Thank you, Sue, for explaining it. So Denise, hello Denise, a warm welcome to you. So you joined ST4G at the end of 2022 as partnerships manager. So we'd love to hear a little bit more about you and your story and how you got involved.
Oh, okay. Well, hello to everybody. Yeah. So I met Sue when I worked for a company called Triage Services Limited. It was an IT repair company where I worked for 9 years. And actually, a little bit about my story. So the end of December 2015, I unfortunately was diagnosed with breast cancer. My treatment took me into 2016. During that treatment, what was the biggest thing I learned? It was about humility and kindness. That was my biggest lesson. And then after that, I decided to be a patient advocate. And then I was sitting actually at home or at work, and I just thought I really wanted to transfer my skills into more of a purpose-led organisation. So that coupled with all the other work I'd done, I read about laptops for learning online, and I thought, oh, I think I'll get in contact with Sue. And I wrote Sue, and we met, and that kind of the rest of that is history.
From there, didn't
Yeah,
we?
so the rest of that is history, really.
So VDS had worked with Triage.
Yeah.
And Denise had been one of the account managers there. So we'd sort of worked together for a good long while beforehand.
Yeah.
And it was really good that we could create this great synergy now through, Denise's, your work with cancer after becoming a survivor of cancer and the great work that you've done.
Yeah.
Denise goes out to schools and speaks to school children about how to look out for the signs and tell your mum as well. So she's a great advocate for that. And I really admired that. And to have Denise sort of coming along with us that really believed in what I was trying to do as well, it was just a great combination for us to work together. Yeah. And I thank you, Denise.
Oh, thank you too. And I think the thing is, Jen, I have to say, I love speaking to all the Cambridgeshire charities, because I love to learn about what they're doing, who they're helping. And then we work together and we try and facilitate their needs by donating to obviously gifts and donate devices. And the thought of actually just somebody getting online for whatever reason, learning, speaking to their family, so many aspects.
But we've learned so much.
We've learned so
honestly,
much.
Jen, the stories we have heard and the things we've learned along the way, it has been hugely, hugely humbling.
I'm sure. Yeah. And you said about, cancer actually being a really pivotal part of your life and something positive to come out of it. And, with that humility and kindness to be able to actually focus your career into doing something to help others. So Denise, so you're responsible for getting businesses and charities involved. And can you give us a bit more insight into the types of organisations that you guys are working with and helping in the Cambridge area?
Yeah, of course. So today, 1,532 devices have been donated. So we kind of worked in various demographics: disability, health support, education, disadvantaged youth, homelessness, refugee support, and all of those people have had, a good amount of IT to facilitate their needs. So, and that's, just in Cambridgeshire alone. So that gives you, a bit of an idea of who we've helped, and without going into sort of
it's a wide demographic of need. Lots of different charities, and again, each day a new charity will pop up. So we work nationally, but we have a big focus in Cambridgeshire because that's where I live and that's the hub, and that's where we primarily want to help. But we will help anybody who sort of reaches out to us. So it's a wide demographic of need: refugees, asylum seeker, homeless, care leavers, whoever reaches out to us, Jen, individuals, refugees, the refuge, we should say too. Definitely.
It's a vast amount.
I was looking at your website, and it was, just to give people an idea about nationally how many people you supported, and looking at the stats there. So over 7,000 devices nationally, and that's over 4,000 laptops, over 630 tablets, over 730 phones, 1,400 Chromebooks, 36 iPads, and 85 desktops. And that's just amazing, from something that started as just a little bit of kindness in lockdown. I mean, I was talking with Caroline Deeprose the other day from the Angels Foundation, who helps people that have fled domestic violence, and she mentioned, that you guys had given them some devices to support people, that have got absolutely nothing. And I know you've also helped It Takes a City, giving devices for homeless people. Just so much going on. And when you reached out to me and heard about Project Cambridge, you wanted to help the sort of people that I'm helping get into work. And it's just it's just so so amazing, the difference that you're making to so many people. So thinking about, we've just been through the devices that you've supplied nationally to people. How can businesses and individuals help?
Well, as a business, so Sustainable Tech for Good has solutions. So when we knock on the doors of organisations, small, medium, or large, or in fact, actually, they may actually come to us, or with solutions through the charities that we support as well. But if we sort of hit the companies first, so any organisation will upgrade tech at some point. So some people do it every 12 months, some people do it every 3 to 4 months, every 3 to 4 years, so they'll retire that tech. So that tech becomes excess, so it's surplus to use. In that situation, they've got the tech, it's sitting around as such. There are organisations called IT asset disposal companies. It's very common for companies to expect that, to be working with somebody like that, or organisations like that will come away and take that tech away. So essentially, we're the same as that. So we're tech people. So we do full repair, refurbishment, data center decommissioning. So there isn't anything that we can't manage. But we take that excess surplus tech, we securely data erase it. So we write patterns over the data. So anybody who understands data, anybody in IT that happens to be listening to this will know. So we've got 30 servers whirring away in an air-conditioned room downstairs. So that writes a pattern over the data 5 times, so that data can't be seen. So every device that we pick up that holds any data is securely data erased. We give reports of erase by serial number, which is signed off by us. Once we've collected that tech, once done the data erase, we will do a full audit so that organisations know how much tech we've picked up and what we've picked up. We sit down with them again once we've done the audit and we've done the secure data erase, and we'll say, look, here's what we've collected, this is the condition, and this is the reason why we'll give it this condition, an A, a B, or it could be a Z, because it might be in bits. Sometimes that happens. And then we decide with that organisation which devices they would like to donate. So we call it legacy in our tech world, or older devices or used devices. And we decide between us what we'd like to donate. We present them with the charities that we're currently working with in the area, and they can make a choice. Denise will also give them a nudge and say, look, these are the charities, but I do know that Centre 33 just recently, and theirs we've supported just recently. Jim is just recently. Cyrenians who just have 8 laptops. So she will have like a hit list, or Denise will have a hit list of people that are currently go, look, I really need some tech. So we'll present those and say, look, this is the need. Would you like the tech to go there? Mostly, obviously, the answer is yes, we would. So we'll donate that tech. For the organisation, we've taken away all the tech, securely data erased it, we've donated it, and we've brought that charity closer to the company. Mm-hmm. Once that tech's been donated, what we do ask of charities is if they could please let us know how important that tech donation's been for the individual, how has it supported and how has it helped, because we give that information back as a digital inclusion report back to the company that we've picked the tech up from. So it supports their corporate social responsibility. It's important that they get that. It's important actually, great, the company gets the corporate social responsibility, great, the individual gets the tech, but actually it makes both sides aware of each other. So it creates that synergy between the organisation, the charity, and working with Rachel Hales actually, that's been important too, because of course that's what Rachel does. She sort of brings companies and charities together. And through our solution, we find that that's what happens, because quite often the companies that I work with and we donate the tech are unaware of the charities in their area. So a bit like when I started with this and grew it and wanted to continue with this is, it felt important to me. I didn't know what was going on around me. Well, actually through this, I can help with that. Mm-hmm. So often companies that we work with then get involved in the charities that we've brought them close to. And often they get volunteers through that as well. So
yeah, and you mentioned Rachel there from the Get Synergised and With Purpose Network, and Rachel's an awesome example of really shining a light on charities and linking them up with companies. She's actually going to be a future guest on the podcast, so you can keep a lookout for that. So, you know, we've spoken about companies and, you know, how they can get their surplus tech reused. What about individuals? I mean, as we're talking, I'm just looking on my table and I can see an old router, a working router that's just been replaced. But I know I've got laptops and a couple of old iPhones sitting at home. Would you be interested to hear from individuals that have got some tech laying around?
Yeah, so we work with, say, small, medium or large. So we're quite used to sort of, and we work, I should say, and haven't said, we don't just accept devices, we take all tech. So we'll pick it, like you said, you've got a router. So we'll take everything from the networking server data center right through to devices. Through Sustainable Tech for Good, we donate the legacy devices, any network and data center equipment, any organizations that are working with us, it still holds value. We purchase that equipment off them and we sell it through our Tech for Change online site, which I didn't mention. I should have done, because Tech for Change sells very, very affordable tech. But
it really is.
On the board, yeah.
I was having a look and thought, this is really, really affordable.
Yeah, but it's important. You know, the key thing is all sustainable. It's all reuse. It all gets the digital inclusion working. But it's not to cherry pick. So we'll take all of the tech. Essentially, the legacy tech is like the food bank of the tech world. So when we donate that, it's like a tech bank, essentially. The higher end tech that we purchase of organizations, it can be all tech, goes on Tech for Change. Every 10th item that's sold on that site, we will donate a device to a partner charity. So Denise sort of encourages the charities to become partners, and then they're in the lucky dip, as well as asking for tech. They're in the lucky dip each month to get a device as well. So yes, that's essentially how it works.
Yeah. So, you know, when I introduced you, I also said that you're stopping all of this tech going into landfill as well, because ultimately that's what's happening. And I know there's really not much that you can't repair, is there?
No, I mean, we're fortunate that we came upon a solution, but of course we were already in tech and we already had the servers and the data raising and our great guys that do the repair and refurbishing. So yes, you will break down data center equipment all the way down to devices. So devices will come in, there might be keyboards missing, they might have a broken screen. So we'll break everything down to spares and make sure that as very little as possible goes into landfill. But going back to your question, which, you know, as individuals, so as a larger organization, we were not set up to accept somebody saying, I've got a broken printer, or I've got a laptop, or I've got 2 mobile phones in my drawer. And I'm very aware of the fact, if we're going to be sustainable, we can't just do it with businesses.
No.
Exactly. So we partnered with Cambridge Online. I've been working with Marcus for quite some time now. So any individual items, laptops, desktops, mobile phones, tablets that you feel it should still have some life in them and reuse, because people have got nothing, and if we can repair and reuse it, it's sustainable, and then there's a device going to somebody, and goodness only knows what support might help with giving them further down the line, and you can drop them off actually with Marcus. So but we'll be announcing that. We've got a partnership announcement. Well, it's more or less been announced, but we'll be talking about how you can drop off individual devices through Marcus at Cambridge.
That's really helpful. I wanted to ask, you know, how can people get in touch and what's the process? You know, I don't mind getting a few bits and bobs to you as well. If people want to get in touch with me. And we can obviously pop all your details in the show notes so that they know how to get in touch. If it's a company that's just got a whole load of new tech in and has now got this legacy tech, how they can get involved. Or, you know, I've worked for businesses that there's always some broken, cracked laptop screens and it just sits on the side gathering dust, and they're worried about, you know, getting the data off it, and knowing that you guys can do that as well and that it's all safe and secure It really is a solution that also, helps with those corporate social responsibility goals as well. So we wanted, you spoke a little bit about how is it measurable in terms of corporate social responsibility and environmental and social governance. How is it exactly measured? Can you give reports straight back to the company to show exactly what?
So essentially, so we pick up the tech, repair, refurbish it. We've got 174 charities nationally, 49 in Cambridgeshire that we deal with. So to make this work, to make this solution work, to make it impactful and important, we will take the tech, repair, refurbish it. But the very, very important role is Denise, collaborating with the charities to get the tech out to the charities, because that's the way it creates a digital inclusion impact. And then Denise will get the stories that we will then hand back to the organisations that we've worked with, so they can actually see where and how their tech has been useful. And if you want to go through how you do that in the digital inclusion report, Denise.
Yes, so what we do is we provide a digital inclusion report, which will generally be feedback from who the recipient is of the device, and a photograph, maybe even, well, there won't be a video in a document, but online maybe a video, and then how much the device is saved in terms of CO2. Well, that's another certificate, isn't it?
Yeah, that was
sustainability. We've got that over there, right? Okay.
Fine,
so it's more, how important it is to a company to get that information back, and how they can share that within their own company, to motivate their staff, to see what their company's contributed to get someone online. So that certificate's a really, really key thing. And that's something that, we work together on, don't we? Work together on that, and getting that information out to them.
So it's a digital inclusion report. So we'll give quotations. Some people have done videos and given us videos of. Look, at the end of the day, we're not here to get a pat on the back and a thank you for doing it. That's not what it's about. We're sustainability impact. It's about the fact that we are able to help. So that's what we're going to do, and that's what we do. But the information that goes back is a digital inclusion report. So it does genuinely let the company know where their tech went, how it helped. And again, it can then bring that collaboration between the company and the charity. And then often they get volunteers out of that. And the other thing that we find, that once we've worked with an organisation maybe a couple of times and taken their tech, and some of the bigger organisations are really then keen, because they put the message out on their intranet, they've let their staff know, think, oh, that's good. I'm glad we're doing something decent with our surplus tech. Yeah. We're not just selling it. We're doing something decent with it. And then quite often they come back and say, look, can we do an internal tech drive? So we've done a number of, with the bigger organisations, we do an internal tech drive solution. So it's a big roundup, and they'll have a day where their staff can bring in their children's excess tech, their aunties, their uncle, everyone, the family's excess tech, whatever you've collected, and they bring it in, and then we do a big collection, and then we report that back. And for bigger organisations, not was it bigger, because it tends to be the bigger companies that ask for that. It's just really good feedback, and again, it spreads the word. And I think importantly, sustainability of course is important, and it's very key. But actually, it spreads the word of digital inclusion, because if you ask many people, we know what digital inclusion is. You do. We've spoken about it.
That's right.
But how many people are actually aware of that? So it's really key to spread that word as well. Sustainability. Yeah. But actually, what is digital inclusion? What does that actually mean? This is what's really going on.
It's funny you should say that. I asked a few people when I was planning this podcast, what is digital inclusion? What did it mean to them? And the amount of people that had never heard of it. Never heard of it. And it all goes back to, as you mentioned at the start of the podcast, that Cambridge is the most unequal city in Europe. And it's just bizarre how one side of a street can have everything, and the opposite side of the street can have very little. and you know, this is also the tech capital of Europe, but we've got people that haven't got access to basic tech, and it's just making people more aware of that fact, and sharing and giving. And what you guys are doing is shining such a bright spotlight on that. So thank you for everything that you are doing.
Well, thank you for saying that. It's appreciated. Thank you. So we don't do it for a pat on the back.
No.
I've been in tech for a long time, and I've been lucky in tech. It's looked after me, and I like to think towards the end of my career I can give back. But it was a shocking thing to learn at the beginning of lockdown. So now we're doing something about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for to both of you for coming on and chatting to us.
Oh, thank you for giving us the chance.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And we'd love for any businesses to get in touch with you directly or here at Project Cambridge, and we can obviously direct that on to the people at Sustainable Tech for Good. So thank you.
And thank you to all the charities that engage with me, by the way,
Actually,
because I'm so happy that I work here and we can help them. That's the most important part for me. But there's a lot more to it. But thank you everyone.
Well, thank you to everyone that gets involved.
Thanks for everyone. Well, we have the opportunity
to help us.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you too.
Awesome. So we've managed to get through another episode without cats walking across the screen, which is always a bonus. Thank you again to all our viewers and listeners. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we look forward to you joining us again very, very soon. Episode 3, we've got Marcus Scott from Super Dielectrics, and we're going to be talking about how people can get into working with energy storage technology and what that means from an education point of view as well. So definitely want to keep a lookout or a listen to. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll see you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you're listening.